In the filings that you say are coming, specifically, you mentioned a 9-year-old boy. Can you tell us about what you know?
Let's remember we're talking about allegations. We're going to file a public filing where the allegation is going to be that a 9-year-old child was sexually assaulted allegedly by Sean Combs and several others. This young man now is very compelling, incredibly believable, and his story is corroborated by his parents. And that will be one of the cases that will be filed. But of the 120, there are 25 that were minors at the time the incidents occurred.
Are those minors all adults now?
Yes.
They're all adults now. Okay. And
yes.
I want to go back to the 9-year-old boy for a second. If he is filing this lawsuit, will it also lead to possible criminal prosecution?
I hope so.
Will you turn over information?
We're going to make any client that and each of them, just their testimony alone is evidence. But any client that is willing, I'm going to encourage them to speak to the authorities.
You mentioned you're going to name names in these lawsuits. Will there be celebrity names?
I expect so, yes.
As of now, do you have celebrity names?
I do.
Do you also have corporations?
I do.
What will be the reaction, you believe, when these names come out?
I think people are going to be shocked. I mean, I think people already are suspecting some of the names that you might see. I think some of them will be shocking, though. And let's not forget that a lot of these parties, whether it be after parties, white parties, whatever the parties were, these were well known. A lot of people really were jockeying to go to these parties. These were parties where a lot of well-known people attended. And so there's venues involved, hotels involved. I think that there will be individuals who had parties at their residences, people that you'll know, people that attended the parties that watched some of this behavior occur and stood by and let it happen. When it happened again and never said a word about it, and in fact hushed it. There's a real culture of silence surrounding all of this. When I said that this was the most well-known secret in the industry, the general public didn't know it was happening, but I think many people within the entertainment industry were aware of some of the things that were going on, or had heard rumors, or had been in the presence of some of this conduct. So, as far as the reaction, I already believe that people are looking closely at their own social media, scrubbing their social media, probably looking at their data on their phones, likely searching their memories. I bet there are a lot of very nervous people who know things that will eventually be part of the public sphere.
Can you tell me now, is there evidence against any major celebrities that you have, and is there anyone that you can name at this moment?
I'm not going to name anybody right now, but I do have evidence.
Have you had a chance to actually see any videos or text messages or other kind of correspondence that kind of corroborate these stories?
All of the above, yes. And not for all 120 clients. I asked for corroboration. What texts, video, pictures, give me dates, venues, give me witnesses. And we do that, we go through that process. And that's what we're doing.
Have you seen things that have shocked you?
Yeah, I have.
What kind of conduct, though, can you tell us about that you've heard from? As you hear these stories over and over again, what are you hearing? I've
kind of put it in two different buckets. One bucket is young people trying to break into the industry who are coerced, promised things, pressured, in some cases physically assaulted, and then threatened. In other cases, the allegation, which is probably the more common allegation, is at some party, somebody reaches out, sees somebody on the street, or sees somebody in the hotel lobby, or sees somebody in the crowd at a show, and somebody from Mr. Combs' entourage reaches out to that person and invites them to an after party. In order to stay, it's told you must drink this drink, and then they can't remember anything, or their memory is hazy from thereafter, and they wake up the next morning injured, and there's drugs in their system. And so that's a pretty common allegation that's been made.
Can you tell me some of the things that is happening to these people?
It's just the most egregious kind of conduct you can think about, and those are the allegations that are being made, and I think that's pretty consistent with what the criminal indictment lays forth.
There is a fear, especially in Hollywood, for people who just went to these parties and now could be connected to these allegations. What happens to someone who, I'm sure because they're famous, they walk into this party and they witness this and then they leave? Will they be part of this lawsuit? Because people will know their name.
Do I intend to name in a lawsuit every person that attended a party? No, that would be foolish. I'm not going to do that. Am I going to name people that facilitated, encouraged, participated in? I'm absolutely going to do that.
There's been a real fear in the past that you would be blackballed in the industry, or maybe that there might be tampering by Diddy, or someone could even show up at your house or on your door. But it seems like this is a watershed moment when you get that many calls, when you have this many people coming to you. Is this a game-changing moment for the music industry and for celebrities?
I hope so. I really hope so. I hope that it is. These folks are scared. These victims are scared. Even now, Sean Combs is behind bars. His bail has been denied twice. I think that the indictment, the arrest, the bail denial obviously led to giving people the courage to come forward. I think the other lawsuits that have been filed, that have been reported about, have also given people, at least some comfort to come forward. I think what we did today will give other people the courage to come forward, not just people who were victimized. I'm also very interested in people who are witnesses. That's super important to me. And also anybody, let's say you're a celebrity and you were at one of these events and you saw something, you feel like you should have said something, or you wish you'd have said something. I'd like to hear from those folks as well. I mean, this is a time for a public airing of this, and let's make it part of the national dialogue, and let's make sure that everybody who has involvement, that we know who that is and what their involvement was. And I think all of that is good for those that were victimized and their recovery.
Mr. Combs' lawyers responded to the allegations that were laid out in your press conference, and they said they can't answer every baseless lawsuit. What is your response to that?
Well, I think that's right. But the good news for them is that when we file the lawsuit, we're going to make sure they know who the plaintiff is. And the next thing they'll say is, well, we don't remember that plaintiff. And then I will say, well, I'm sure you don't, because there's so many of them. I've been down this road before. So, I understand how it works. I understand the public defense they will make, and we'll address it in due course.
Do you have a locked-in date that you will drop? You're saying 30 days, but do you have a locked-in date, or will these come any day now? We could start getting these lawsuits.
It could be in the next week. And I expect we'll file, a series that we may file 3 or 4 at a time. It just depends on how fast that we can do the work that needs to be done to make sure the case is done in the right way.